Okay, so thanks everyone so much for coming. Today I'm going to be talking about Bowzer and the AF Guild. I'll talk a little bit more about each later, and then we have Erich Schlieper from the G Idea Exchange who will be sharing about the G Idea Exchange and the work they're doing to help grow the LabVIEW community and G. First, a little bit about me. My name is Mike Lay. I've been a LabVIEW user since 2006 and a CLA since 2011. I've been helping with San Diego user groups off and on since 2014, definitely more off than on recently, but hopefully that'll change going forward. And I'm also a co-founder of Zyah Solutions. We're a company of CLAs with extensive experience developing scalable applications to address complex problems. And we really pride ourselves on clean, modular, high quality solutions adhering to solid design principles. Combined, we have over 50 years of LabVIEW experience. By the way, if there's there's this link that I'm going to go ahead and share to the chat. Or I do that. Or actually, Casey, could you share this link possibly?
Yeah, I'll do it.
I can try. Let's see who types faster. There. Beat him. All right, so go ahead and click on that link. We're gonna have a little activity, kind of referencing what Ian was talking about earlier. And go ahead and present. I'm going to switch sharing. Find it. That's the problem. There we go. Were people able to click into the link? Yeah, so these are just the benefits. So anything, you should use single words, by the way. Sorry for whoever just answered, but like it's better if you use single words. Otherwise, they'll break it up into separate things, doing a word cloud thing. And if this activity doesn't work well, we can just talk about it, or people can type in the chat. No responses received yet. Okay, yep, modular, solid, parallel, OOP, robust, sophisticated, scalable, okay. Yep. Okay, so that's kind of what I expected, right? Like it's, Act Framework's really powerful. It lets you do very complex applications, but in a way that's more scalable. And that's great. But I know that a lot of people have also encountered challenges with actors. So let's go ahead and do that. So same idea. What are the problems you've encountered with actors? What are some of the disadvantages you perceive with actors? Confusing, overhead, complex. Yeah, I get that a lot. Very understandable. Traceability. Yeah. A lot of people saying complex. Yep. Debugging. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. What do? Okay. Wonder if that's Ivan. Okay. Overhead, debugging, traceability, flow. All right. Yeah, so I think that kind of gets at the heart of what a lot of users encounter when they start using Actor Framework or are exposed to Actor Framework. That's good. And hopefully Bowzer can help address some of those issues while still letting you get to all of the great things about actors as far as scalability, extensibility, modularity. All right, so can everyone see the presentation? Yep, looks like it. So what do you think of when you think of Bowzer? And I think for a lot of you, maybe all of you, the answer is going to be this guy, the Jack Black voiced animated character from the Nintendo movie out. And I guess before it was a video game or something. But that is not the Bowzer we're talking about today. That is a Bowzer with an S. As you can see, today we're talking about Bowzer with a Z, completely different. totally different. Our Bowzer is about making your life easier with Active Framework, which is something that a princess stealing spiky turtle cannot do. Where did the idea for Bowzer come from? And I'll say it came from exactly the kind of thinking that the exercise was about earlier, where we loved Active Framework. We thought it's such a great solution for so many applications, but it's not necessarily every developer's preference. And we're trying to figure out why that is. Well, Active Framework has all these benefits, but it's not always the easiest to use. And we were thinking about other frameworks that we've used, like DQMH, where the existing tooling is much better and it makes the user experience better. So we thought about it and we started our own tool. And then we also knew that there's a strong community of AF users with a motivation and skill to make AF better. So that brought Casey and a lot of other people to kind of form this group called the Active Framework Guild. And this group was about making AF more useful, approachable, providing tools and utilities to aid developers. And one of the first things that came out of the guild was Bowzer, which started at Zyah as just a way to browse AF payload methods. Don't worry about the terminology, we're going to get to that later, but just basically make a way to make actors a little more easy to navigate and understand. And that initial concept grew into what it is today because of the AF Guild, because of our interactions with colleagues and friends, like these great people who, a lot of them provided a lot of feedback and ideas that went into Bowzer and became core to its functionality. So I know some of you don't use actors, and so we're going to go ahead and go over a little bit about actors as QMHs, because they really are just queued message handlers, right? And I'm hoping this is familiar to everyone here. You have kind of the bread and butter of traditional LabVIEW programming. You have a string invariant cluster acting as a message. You can enqueue messages onto your queue, and then out it goes into this case structure, which parses what is the message being executed. It subsequently executes the code, in this case, the code for toggle. And it knows that toggle needs to have a Boolean in order to execute its action. So it casts the variant to that, and then it does whatever it needs to do, right? So this is very bread and butter LabVIEW, and we're going to see how you can take this and then make it an actor. Sorry for those of you who are already familiar with actors. I know this might be a little boring, but we're going to try to blaze through it. You start with a message string invariant, and that becomes a class. If you're not super familiar with classes, just think of it as like a super cluster that is more contained and lets you apply specific VIs onto that class and only that class. Then you take the case structure, and instead of a case structure, you're now using dynamic dispatch with a do VI. And again, if you're not super familiar, we will be going through it with the demos, and that'll become clearer. But this dynamic dispatch, the class goes in, and that helps determine what exact method to execute, what do VI to execute, and that tells you that becomes this code eventually. Any questions before I jump into the demos? Feel free to ask in the chat, or you can unmute. Okay. And feel free to chime in anytime. So first demo, very simple. We have two projects where to the user, facing the user, it's identical. Just very simple GUIs that have some basic functionality. You can show a message. You can show a random number. You can change the color of this indicator. So on the front, these are the same, except you can see in the titles, a little hint. This guy is running off Active Framework, and this one is running off queued message handling. So let's take a look at what that looks like on the back end. All right, here you can see the standard producer loop, amazing code written by Casey from the standard Active Framework, from the standard producer consumer template. And every event here has an associated handler down here. So you're enqueuing your message, it goes here. And again, this is what people are very familiar with. This is what people are very comfortable with. It's all data flow. It's all on the block diagram, right? So pretty standard actor stuff, not actor stuff, QMH stuff. And now, how does it look like as an actor when you switch this over to an actor? Well, some parts don't look that different. You can see that we have the same producer loop. We have an event loop, and we are sending messages somewhere. This is the same as this queue reference, basically, just the active version of it. And off, this is going, but it's not clear where the consumer loop is, right? And you can dig into the actor core, and you can see it. See, this is where this queue is being dequeued, and now some magic is happening. But you can see it's dequeuing into a while loop, in a while loop, just like this guy is dequeuing in a while loop. It's basically the same, but there's like complicated stuff going under the hood, and you're like, eventually you get to the message you want to execute, but it's like very confusing. This is not at all the familiar case structure you're used to. You can't see the payload code being deployed. It's buried one more level deep. So most people don't go through this route when they're using actors. Instead, you kind of figure it out by saying, okay, I'm in actor core. I have this send message, and the send message is here, and I see it's called show message. So I go into the class, and there's the show message VI, and finally you get to the same code over here, right? Now that's a little involved. Casey did make this a little easier. There's a Zyah OpenAF payload method package you can download off VI package manager, and you can right-click, go to open payload method, and that's great. It's faster, but you're not getting. What's nice about this case structure is you can see everything the queued message handler can do in one spot, and that is not the case here because this guy, because of inheritance, it's inheriting some of its behavior from the parent. It's implementing some of its own behavior. You have interface overrides. It's like a little confusing if you're not used to actors, right? It's powerful. You're getting all the benefits of inheritance and extensibility, but it is less clear. It's on the block diagram. It's on the project window instead of the block diagram. But we can go to our tools menu, go to Zyah Solutions, and launch Bowzer and see how that changes things for us. All right, so now you can see the two actors in the project. You can see the parent actor, and this is all it does. And then you can go to the child class and see, oh, here's everything that this can do. And you can see that this window here looks with this, and I can scroll through just like a case structure. It looks a lot more like this guy. Becoming very familiar, right? All right, any questions about that before I dig into the next demo?
Does it require the messages to be in any particular place in the project or some kind of?
It requires them to have been scripted using modern actor framework scripting tools. We've tried it on some of the older projects, like from 2011, where people were having to manually make their own messages, and that's more hit and miss. Casey, do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, if you're using the actor framework message maker provider, which is included since I think LabVIEW 2016, maybe somewhere around there. So it's not super new. If you're using that, you should be fine.
Okay. Great.
Good question. All right. Feel free to chime in with any other questions as I set up the next demo. It should be this one. So now we're going to look at something a little more involved and look at some actor inheritance. Cool. There we go. So this is a example project by Stefan Lemons, who has actually a ton of great actor framework examples. I'm going to provide a link later to all of them. He goes from very simple actors to very complicated. This one is in the middle, just to kind of show you how Bowzer can help with inheritance. So it's a plugin architecture. If you're not familiar with what that means, basically you have a base plugin parent class. So if we look at this hierarchy here of one of the plugins, you'll be able to see, if I do this, let's see, show class hierarchy. Yeah. So you see that you have a plugin parent and then two children. One is a counter and one is a timer. So the children inherit the behavior from the plugin parent, and they're able to do common things, but they're also able to put their own little twist on stuff, and they're able to like kind of extend the functionality of the parent. In this case, the main thing that the parent lets them do is two things. They can embed themselves here. This is showing the number of seconds since I started talking about this project and running it. So the parent teaches the children or gives the children the ability to embed themselves into a subpanel. It also has a get status request, which in the case of count, just count. And I can increment a bunch and get a new count. You can also get the time. So those are the two simple things inherited from the parents. And that's all well and good. And this is a relatively simple project. But again, because there's a mix of behaviors from the children and the parents, it can be a little confusing, like where is counter getting its, show front panel behavior. And you would do the same kind of thing I did before, where you would look at the class hierarchy or go to the parent class and try to figure it out. In this case, it's relatively straightforward since it's a pretty straightforward example, but we can go to Bowzer and I'll show you how to do it with quick drop. So you can quick drop into Bowzer. The default key is Control Z, and that'll launch it. And now you see we have these things that have different behaviors. So everything with an asterisk is dynamic dispatch. So it'll show up with a selection window if there's more than one option. And in this case, you can see like, okay, what is the parent doing? Nothing. So all the behaviors in the child. Notice that when I click over the parent implementation, it highlights on the left so that you're not confused about which actor content you're looking at. But you still get the ability to click through or scroll through everything that counter is able to do. And you can see plugin parent empty behavior except for show front panel, which is static. It's not dynamic dispatch, as you can see by the lack of asterisk. Yeah. And that's that. Any questions about this demo?
Ian had a question about doesn't Control Z conflict with undo?
Not
so the
if
Control
not
Z,
when you're in quick drop. Yeah, go ahead, Casey.
Yeah, just what you were going to say, Mike. Just you have to bring up the quick drop menu first, then hit Control Z. Yeah. If you happen to do it without the quick drop window open, you will undo your last action. So
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I have another question. If you're all and
I'm sorry, whoever's speaking right now, your audio is quite poor. So you can either, if you can fix your audio, you can ask a question in the chat.
sounded like Dimitri.
Dimitri, yeah.
all right,
Or you can try it again, Dimitri.
all right, yeah, I'll get close to my laptop. So, can you open the block diagram from the browser?
Can't hear what he said, but I'm going to open the next project and hope. I'm sure Dimitri will be able to ask a question soon. Okay.
Yeah, it was a little tough still, Dimitri. Why don't you try typing it and we can hopefully understand it.
Yeah, if you type anything in chat, well, wrong mic selection in Zoom sounds like maybe. Okay, so I'm going to look at while we're waiting for Dimitri's question, and I'll keep the other part open in case your question is relevant to that. While you get that question to us, I'm going to start looking at the next one. So this is Actor Framework Fundamentals. It's kind of the classic shipping example of actors that ships with LabVIEW. I would say that for an example, it's pretty complex. Can you one the block diagram for editing from open? You cannot, but that is something we want to add. And I'll show you some of the things you can do in this example, actually. But we want to add that functionality, and I and Erich will explain how the GID exchange can help you guys, help us make that happen. Great question, because that is definitely functionality we want to add. Okay, so like I was saying, the shipping example for coffee shop, it's not the most straightforward. There's kind of a lot going on. Luckily, there's good documentation here telling you both the inheritance, the launch tree, and kind of messaging, how that goes. But for me, it wasn't the most intuitive example to look at. You have to I guess because we mostly work with, most LabVIEW developers mostly work with hardware. They're acquiring data, plotting, recording data, coordinating mechanical movements, electromechanical movements. This is modeling a coffee shop. So you enqueue a customer places an order for like dark roast with milk. That order goes in, the cashier, actor, these are all actors. The customer's an actor. this cashier is an actor, the barista is an actor versus making the drink. He's waiting on his cell phone for his drink, and then he got his drink, right? So you're all good. But when you look at the actors, it's not super clear what's what. You can tell these are all people. There's good organization into virtual folders, but if you look at the actors themselves, you start looking at these and you're like, what is a message? Which ones are messages? Which are things that can be sent from outside? It's not super evident, right? Like you can kind of figure out by process of elimination. Like you see, okay, init nested actors is not up here. Generate table data is not up here. But again, it's a little confusing, right? So let's take a look at how things are with Bowzer. So now again, you can say, okay, now customer, you can see it's inheriting from person. You can see it's inheriting from, I mean, not inheriting. You can see it's implementing its own behavior. Again, there's the dynamic dispatch. Yeah, implementation window. And again, you're seeing where that comes from. When you look at coffee shop, it's much more clear what are messages, and you can just scroll through the data or click through the different payload methods. Can't wire things. Okay, yeah, so Casey is explaining that the reason that we can't interact with this block diagram is because it's exactly like the choose implementation dialog standard behavior. So we can like scroll around a bit, or yeah, we can scroll around a bit. We can double click into sub VIs and things like that, but we can't actually, oh, we can. I just did something kind of weird, but I'm gonna, oh, this is a good time to show this. Ah, interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know you could do that either, Casey. So don't do that because the implementation window lets you do things that probably shouldn't. I'm gonna say that's LabVIEW's fault somehow, not mine. Yeah. But you can see here that it's much easier to see what coffee shop is doing. It's much easier to see where behavior is coming from. If you look at customer with cell phone, you can see, okay, it has the ability to show or hide its front panel, just like person. You have the ability to update order numbers from customer, and then customer with cell phone is also able to make a phone call. And that's like a 5-second wait where it's not, he or she is not able to pick up their drink while this is happening. Things like that. All right, any questions? It had to explicitly be turned on in this subpanel to enable edit mode or copy another subpanel. That's that. Okay, so we could look at turning that off. Derek, we might talk to you after about how to make that a more user-friendly experience. Have the actor list show the class hierarchy. Yeah, that's a potential improvement. If so, Jeff is saying that it would be helpful if this Bowzer window showed the hierarchy, maybe down here somehow, where this is more hierarchical or something. I'm sure there's a lot of ways you can visualize it. Yeah, that's a potential improvement.
It sort of does
panel.
show the class hierarchy in the sense that, like, if you look in the actor messages window, that is the hierarchy there. Where it gets complicated though is the fact that in LabVIEW 2020 and beyond, they added interfaces. Which are a great addition, but it makes the visualization a little bit harder in a tree structure like this. And I did not want to take the time to figure out how to do it graphically otherwise. So yeah, but for the class inheritance, it does sort of show it, like barista inherits from worker, which inherits from person.
Yeah, we could potentially change this to show at least the class inheritance. It wouldn't show the interface inheritance up here. But we love these suggestions, and we're gonna go into it more, as well as give you a way to give us more suggestions or even play around with the code yourself. So yeah, all of those. But yeah, that is a good idea. All right, last demo. So we've been looking at how Bowzer can be used to help like orient you in a project. This is going to be a little bit more about development, how Bowzer can potentially help you with development. So here we have kind of a more traditional project. I'm going to open a little diagram to show everyone what's going on. So you have a root actor. It's launching a waveform generator, generating data. And then that data is being pushed to two views, this chart and this table. The table has some simple functionality here, statistics. It's also being pushed to a data logger. So data is being logged to a CSV file. And that's great. Pretty standard stuff. Let's say you had inherited this project and you were like trying to figure out what's going on. There was a request from the user to switch to manual waveform generation. They want to have to manually press a button in order to generate data. They don't want it to just happen automatically. So you're playing around with this project and you say, oh, look, there's a helpful tag left behind by the last developer. Because that's always how it is. When you inherit projects, the code is really clean and it's really easy to understand and you can really quickly figure out what's going on. So you just switch it over and you're like, all right, manual generation, right? So you're just gonna run it, it's just gonna work, right? Work the first time. And you switch it over and you try to click the generate waveform and man, nothing happens. What is going on? And so again, in this case, we're gonna look at bookmark manager, see if there were any helpful messages left behind by the last developer. Lo and behold, magically, the exact thing we wanted is right here. And we can see that although this event is being triggered, the message for the manual waveform generator is not being fired off. And you can grab that message a couple ways. You can go here and you can drag from the window, from the project window. When you find it, you can just write send update settings and hope that the right thing comes up, which it does in Quick Drop. Or if you have Bowzer, you can, you'll be like, all right, I want the waveform generator class. And then you want the manual waveform generator. You see that you have the message you want here. And you're like, all right, let's go ahead and do that. Oop. And same thing here. Drag and drop. And now you're all set. Let's try running again. And now I'm getting waveform generation. When I update the settings, again, it updates and everything's good. Okay, look at a couple of the other features available. You can see here that private messages, the scope of the message is indicated by an icon, just like it would be in the project window. So if you right click here, and these are options you have for right click, you can show the message in the class. You see that it is private, indeed, it's matching. You can show the method in the project. So that gets you there quicker. Same thing for the actor. You can show the actor class in the project. And this is a neat feature that Casey added not too long ago, which is, oh, no colors found for that. Oh, right, because I just removed those. There we go. So it takes you right to the one you want. You can also show, I think show VI should have a bunch of colors. Yep. So this is what Casey added, which is something like the find all instances window. Casey had to re-implement it because there's no API access to what LabVIEW does internally in the IDE. But from here, it'll take you directly to whichever one you want to look at. And this improvement was funded by the GID exchange, actually. Before this, when you right-clicked and did find all instances, what it would do, it would highlight individual VIs, which is less helpful because like now you want to click into this VI, you've lost the other VIs that have that, that are calling that message. So it's much improved. Okay, any questions about this demo or the functionality that we just showed?
Yeah, real quickly, that the previous behavior that Mike is describing, if you saw this presentation when I gave it for GDevCon in last year, it had the old behavior for search. So if you have been using it like that and you want to see this improved behavior, just get the latest version of Bowzer on VIPM and it's included there.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you have it's showing a little message icon. It says hide UI, it says show UI, and the code it shows is the code inside the actual method under do that's actually going to be doing. But when I click and drag, it'll drop the send.
Correct. Correct.
What if, not asking for a new feature, but what if there were another method inside the message class that was made for some reason? Would that disrupt dragging and finding the send?
So you're saying that
Like a
You had-
constructor, perhaps?
Of some kind.
like
Yeah, something
another
like that.
like another VI here?
Yeah,
No, it would not. It's specifically looking for
Okay.
the send.
great. So if there were something there, it wouldn't disrupt this existing behavior. Wonderful.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yep. Good question. Any other questions? So if you're wondering how do I get this awesome extension that Casey and Adam made, the answer is you can go to JKI Package Manager, and it's here. You can just type for Bowzer, or you can type Zyah. If you type Zyah, then while you're installing Bowzer, you can also install the OpenAF payload right-click thing that I showed earlier, along with some of the other great stuff that has been made for the community. But it's right there. If you are one of the people that saw the Jeep DevCon presentation or have been using Bowzer, I'm not sure why you're in this presentation, but you should upgrade to 1.3 because that shows the improved search functionality that we had before. Okay,
Is it depend on any of those, or is it just standalone Bowser?
sorry, say that again.
Does Bowser rely on that other PPL? That other
No, they're independent packages.
Okay.
Yeah. For people that use AF, what is the biggest benefit of using AF for you? There is cost in terms of complexity, so it makes it worthwhile for you. That is a subject of an entire other presentation. But in short, I would say that once you are familiar with actors and the inheritance, then what some people look at as complexity becomes very much modularity and flexibility and reusability. And it does take a shift in thinking to get into actors that way and to understand them that way. But after having done it so long, the type safeness of sending messages, the clear messaging hierarchy, whereas with a lot of QMH projects that become very complicated and grow, it becomes very hard to figure out where messages are coming from. Things are self-enqueuing in ways that are not run safe, that are introducing race conditions. So to me, it's when you have a project of sufficient complexity, it's a matter of, do you want to try to organize that in a structured way, or do you want to try to just make changes as fast as possible in an unstructured way? I choose structured, and I choose the powerful tools of classes. Yeah, so Derek is saying when actors are used correctly, prevents some types of race conditions and less relying on DVRs and other mechanisms for sharing data. Yeah, that's another
Yeah, it's
advantage.
interesting. There are actually more guardrails in Actor Framework, I think, than in some of the other frameworks out there. That if you can always break something that's out there, but if you're following it the way that was intended to be used, yeah, it avoids some race conditions that might lead to deadlocks, stuff like that.
Okay, so these are some helpful links. I just showed the BI package. I pasted the links into the chat. So if anyone wants those, you can grab them. All right, so future features enhancements, there's a lot in here. You can see we want to try to be able to add opening the block diagram for editing from the browser. That's not available right now, but that would be great. And if you have other suggestions, then feel free to reach out to us. You can just drop our email in. And you can see here on the right, you can see that the enhanced search was funded on a little website, the GID Exchange. And Erich is going to talk about that right now. Erich, are you online?
I'm here.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing and hand it over.
All right, sounds good. Oh. All right. Let's see here. All right. No, that's probably not exactly what I wanted to do. Gonna share the whole. If we could all just use the same tool for presentations, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
This
Yeah.
Zoom thing is new to everybody though, right? We haven't been using it for the past 3 years.
Well, I think I used Zoom at the very beginning, and then, we use Google Meet at Choose Movement, and
Nice.
we use and most of my customers use Teams. So it's kind of one of those things. I haven't had to use Zoom in a long time. All right, but I assume you can see my screen now. Looks
Yes.
like an actual legitimate.
Summer of LabVIEW Square Battle competition.
Yes. So yeah, so we can talk a little bit about the G Idea Exchange committee here in a little bit too. But the first thing that we wanted to do is kind of help kick off the Summer of LabVIEW, and doing that through Square Battle competition. I don't know if you want to drop in the chat if you've ever done the Square Battle, because it's been around for a little while, but I hadn't really known about it until I don't know, last year or two, and then I got into we did it for our local user group located in the Minneapolis, Minnesota area, and we did it for one of our users groups, and then I heard about Derek having done it, redoing it, and we thought at the GID Exchange Committee that it would be a fun thing to do to kind of help generate some excitement for learning, programming LabVIEW, interacting with other developers, right? Make it a big competition if we can. Encourage people to not only contribute, but also or contribute in both, time and programming, but also potentially giving to open source projects that they see as being valuable, and just in general bringing attention to the GID Exchange. But to go back to the top here, like, what is the Square Battle competition? It's a programming challenge that allows you to develop some logic and algorithms, a simple bot that will work autonomously, and it runs in an engine that Derek wrote. And actually, the GID Exchange Committee, we're partnering with Derek, who's online, and Darren, who ran this same thing inside NI last summer. Some of the details around what we're doing. So who can participate? Anyone that wants to participate from around the world of LabVIEW developers. Even if you're not currently a LabVIEW developer, but wanted to learn, you could join. We want to start programming now. That's why we wanted to kind of bring this up at user group, and you'll start to see some things on LinkedIn if you're depending on who you're connected to. But we want to let you start programming now. Registrations, submissions will open up sometime in June, and our goal is we're gonna do some battles. They'll be recorded and posted online, but we want to do the finals in mid to late July at GDevCon NA in some fashion. And so we want to get people from lots of different areas. So we will be having different brackets, right? So it might be that we have champions against NI staff. It might be that if maybe it turns out that Choose Movement wants to, gets to have some squares and battles Zyah, or some other, pick your favorite partner to battle each other. A lot of different opportunities there. Like I said, we're gonna, rounds, the intermediate rounds will be posted to YouTube, and then the finals will be shown at GDevCon. At least that's the intent. We haven't. I've submitted a presentation, but I've not heard back officially yet. But we've talked to people, and it sounds promising. If you want to get started, all you need to do is install the Summer of LabVIEW Square Battle using VI Package Manager. You can go to the vipm.io and search for Square Battle. You can install the package, open LabVIEW and create a project. I should be able, I can show this if people would like to see that, but select. So Derek did a good job in actually creating a provider in the opening. So when you click new project, it shows up as a template project that you can create, and then follow the instructions. There's a README file in there, and you can start making your square. There will also be videos and things to help show you these things, but we were in the process of getting going on that, and I think Derek's got some videos, but we need to do some redo some of those because I think they were internal to NI, and so we've got to make our own. Yes.
I dropped the
Anybody
link
have-
to the VI package in the chat. So
Perfect, thank you. Are there any questions? I'm hoping that we can get people excited. You know, everybody here that was at this user group made a square. We'd be well on our way to having quite the a fun competition. I just want to point out organizers. Of course, it's Darren and Derek. It's kind of they've got the whole Summer of LabVIEW name, you know, going and want to build some good momentum around that. But then the GID Exchange Committee, which is Q, Jesper, Bill, Casey, myself, and Felipe. We're currently part of the committee that if you have ideas that you think, if you have ideas that you would like help getting funding for, or ideas that you would like to see but don't necessarily have either the experience or the time or a host of other things, you can put in suggestions similar to the LabVIEW idea forum, but this is for a place for things that wouldn't necessarily, you know, need to be done to the LabVIEW IDE. Our goals, the GIE goals and vision, and we want to share ideas for toolkits and add-ons. So that's where, you know, the Bowzer add-ons and things are good things to see there. You can you will be able to vote for your favorite ideas by sponsoring them with money. And if you've got, currently it's been a lot of individuals with you know, just people who are enthusiastic about the G and the LabVIEW community providing funding. But if your company would like to see some open source tools generated, would like to and contribute in some way, feel free to get a hold of anybody on the committee, Casey or myself. We'd be happy to talk to you to see what we can do. We also want to share resources to help get tools into G programmers' hands. that would be useful to them, and then maximizing returns on investments for usability.
Just showing
All
the
right,
website so people can see the donors and everything.
perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, you can donate anonymously. You don't have to get your name out there if you're, if that's not something you want to do, but you certainly can and should help if you decide that there's something here that you want to invest in. You should certainly tell all your friends about it so that they can help make some of these things happen.
Great. Anything else, Eric?
Nope, I'm just going to see here.
We can hang around if anyone has questions about either the GID exchange or Bowzer for a couple minutes before we drop off, just in case.
I am going to post as soon as I can get back to the Zoom meeting. There is a Discord server that that you can get on, and it will show, and it gives you the ability to. That's where we'll drop announcements. We can help give any additional instructions, other resources.
Awesome.
Help specifically related to the challenge and different things like that. So, it's the Discord will be a good place to go and interact with other people, especially if you're trying to, if you want to. Oh yeah, Casey's got the video up and running, showing what the square battle actually looks like.
That wasn't me, but yeah, it's up there.
The man behind the curtain. Who could it be?
I have so many questions.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead,
I'll
Ian.
look at,
Go ahead.
no, all about the rules of this game. I'll need to find that in the resources somewhere.
Oh
The,
yes, there's a
on the VIPM, it lists link to a home page and a link to the source code. I can find the source code, but there's no home page. So I'll keep looking, I guess.
Yeah, when I Googled the Square Battle I Googled LabVIEW Square Battle, the first thing that came up had an expired security certificate. So
Yeah.
I don't know who should look at that, but someone.
It tells me to run away and run away fast.
Yeah, run away. That shouldn't be coming up.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
There's no
Yeah.
website yet. It's coming June 4th.
It looked like Ndigit or
Ah.
something. It looked like an old website. I ignored the warning.
Oh. Yeah, so this was a challenge that was originally started by Ndigit. I just remade it to enable some more functionality
Oh.
and be a little bit friendlier to newer LabVIEW developers.
Looks awesome.
There's
Where would I go
eventually
to
going to be a
find
summer
the
of
simple
LabVIEW.com.
rules?
All right.
It is definitely much nicer to program using the this new version than Ndigit's old version.
Which
sounds like
version
a
of
compliment
LabVIEW?
there.
What's the minimum version of LabVIEW you need to do this?
20.
Forget 2020.
2020.
All right, so real quick, last few slides. If you want to join the AF Guild, if you're interested in making Active Framework better, building tools, or if you just want to give us feedback on Bowzer and anything else that gets released through AF Guild, feel free to join the Discord. I posted that link earlier. I'm going to repost all the links again. It's in there in that blob of links. Yeah. So if there's any questions on either Bowzer or GIE, Casey did most of the development, like 80–90% of the development on Bowzer, along with Adam, who is not here. But if there's any questions about Bowzer, why we did things a certain way, what things you want to see, feel free to ask. And there's a few members of GIE here, as Eric alluded to. So if there's any questions about that, feel free to chime in now.
Eric, did you see my question? Do we want to talk about some of that stuff or?
Yeah, so currently the it's going to be the entry, and you may have missed the meeting where we had the final discussion and talk with Derek about it, but this is going to be a free to enter, and but we are working on prizes. So that there will be some, in addition to bragging rights, there might be some fun and interesting things that you could win through submissions. So please go and download Bowzer, but also download the Summer of LabVIEW Square Battle and start working on your square, because you guys are the first to hear about it. So you get the jump on everybody. So you have just that many more days to get to fine tune your square to annihilate everyone.
And Derek is saying after Square Battle, there will be other challenges in the future.
Just given the code that won last summer's, so y'all can face off against last year's champion. in practice.
Nice.
Awesome, that'll be fun.
Very cool. Okay. If there are no other questions, then like I said, feel free to reach out to us after the meeting with anything. You can join the Discords. There have been a couple thrown around, the AF Guild Discord, the GIE Discord, and you can contact us by email, go to our website. You can start playing around Bowzer, start playing around with the Square Battle stuff. And yeah, thanks you all so much for coming. We're going to try to hold more events. I know Ivan was interested in seeing things on LabVIEW interacting with other languages, and kind of, there's a lot more interest in that recently, with a lot of the behind the scenes stuff going on at NI. So yeah, if anyone has suggestions on user group ideas, let us know. Okay, thanks so much everyone, and have a great evening.
The capability to add items to a panel, you'll need to create a mouse down filter event and discard it.
Let's talk about, I want to hear that again, or I'll listen to the recording, but I'm probably going to talk to you about that after, in case no one will be reaching out. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening. Bye.